Chronicles of the Grim Reaper. The Wait. By Griz, Calderon. She never rests. She never sleeps. She never closes her eyes, the Reaper said to himself, as he watched from the dark corner of the room. She had been that way for years. "You'll sleep when you're dead," Gwen often told herself, a hollow reassurance that never truly comforted her. "Why can't you ever fall asleep?" she'd whisper aloud, her voice barely audible in the stillness of the night. It was a question she posed to no one and everyone. She often wondered this. Gwen was the kind of woman who carried beauty without ever needing to try. Her long, dark hair curled gently around her shoulders, always slightly tousled, as if touched by a breeze no one else could feel. Her brown eyes, wide and expressive, held layers of questions she'd never dared to ask aloud. There was something soft about her, something sincere and open. Yet it was clear she bore the weight of invisible burdens, questions that haunted her, answers that never came. Why couldn't she put her mind at ease? "Maybe this is just my norm," she finally admitted to herself one day. "Maybe peace just isn't for me." But the body, she came to understand, has its own language. When it needs something, it speaks. And when it is desperate, it demands. So she lay in bed at night, her body still but her mind ceaseless, drifting from thought to thought, like waves lapping against an unmoving shore. When she finally did sleep, when exhaustion overruled the mind, her dreams became a patchwork of memories and what-ifs. She dreamt of laughter, of sunlight warming her face, of times she believed in love. And always, those dreams whispered to her things her waking self couldn't understand. Still, the questions came. Why do the unanswered things torment us most at night? Why do we seek love we can't have, or worse, believe exists only to never find it? Why are people unkind? Why are we not good enough? Why do we try so hard, only to be let down? Why must we let go of something we love just to see if it returns to us? Why are we not good enough? She asked it over and over again, sometimes with tears in her eyes, sometimes with a hollow laugh. She tried to fit in, with family, with friends, in jobs, in relationships. But no matter what she did or who she became, the answer always seemed to echo back the same. You are not enough. And eventually, she started to believe it. The Reaper had been visiting her for years, slipping in and out of the room in silence. His entrance was like a wind that didn't move the curtains, a chill that couldn't be traced to any open window. Cloaked in shadow, he stepped into her room with his scythe always in hand, not as a threat, but as a symbol of inevitability. His presence was quiet but constant. He never touched her, never spoke to her. He simply watched. He wanted to answer her questions. He wished he could, but this was not his role. And so, he watched. With each visit, he saw the slow unraveling of her heart, the ways she tried to keep herself stitched together. He knew her pain intimately. He had seen it reflected in countless souls over the centuries. And he knew in the way that only he could, that one day she would have the answers. All in good time. One day, the pull came. Not the usual flicker of possibility or brush of fate, but a deep, resonant pull that told him her time had arrived. He entered her room just before dawn. The darkness was thinning, and a sliver of morning light crept in through the slats of her shutters. Gwen lay curled on her side, her hands gently folded beneath her cheek, as if cushioning herself for sleep. Her hair spilled across the pillow like a river of ink, and her breath came slower, and slower still. She didn't fight it. For the first time in years, her mind was quiet, her heart at peace. She had asked the question for so long, why are we not good enough? And in her final hours, she had found the answer, not in the world around her, but in herself. We are. We are good enough for ourselves, good enough for the strangers who see us with kind eyes, good enough to love and be loved in quiet, surprising ways, good enough to give without breaking, good enough to be. And that was all she needed. The Reaper moved toward her slowly, respectfully. He reached out his hand, not with finality, but with care, and touched her gently. Her soul, luminous and calm, separated from her body like a feather lifting on the breeze. They stood together, side by side, and looked back one last time. Her body was still, her chest unmoving, her eyes closed. A peace she had never known in life had finally come. The Reaper looked down at her, his voice low but certain. Now she will rest. Now she can sleep. Now she can close her eyes.